Hello and welcome to Happy Foot, Sad Foot. I'm Darren Miller.
And I'm going to jump off a building. Welcome to the...
We're gathered here today to mourn a loss.
My name is Travis Helwig. Welcome to the post-game pod.
Hi, Travis.
We just did the watch along on the LAFC YouTube and Twitch channel.
I feel like they love torturing us.
They really do.
They have
bring
us on for the hardest games.
This one at least was fun for like 70 minutes.
It was fun for a good period of time. I will give it that. And then we were punished for having fun.
It really was like you guys are coasting too much. There were people in the chat talking about how excited they were for Tuesday's game and getting off work.
Yeah, that was bad.
I just want to say we have a special guest joining us as always. Our good friend Vince LaRosa is here. Vince, welcome to the show. Well, he went away.
He's back again. Should we? It's like a remix.
Do it. Just do it. Do it again. Do it again.
Hard summer.
Hey Vince, why did you do that to us?
What the fuck, Vince?
Yeah. Wow.
Thanks for coming. You're a scapegoat now.
Yeah. Like, what did I just walk into? Like,
we're mad, Vince, and we weren't able to express how mad we were on the real live stream for LAFC.
Our little guys
out on
watch
you.
along.
Oh how the tables have turned. Now you guys are the ones working for LAFC, and I'm the one that can say whatever I want. So let's go.
Oh, Vince, that was bad, Vince. You're another person. It's your fault.
Tell us what you saw, Vince. It was
Tell
hard
us what the fuck happened.
To get a full picture from what we were doing.
I mean, bad's relative. I will say, like, I expected to come into the funeral procession. But I didn't think you guys would be this low. I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah. I mean, I knew that was my great aunt. I mean, I'm just here. I heard there's food later. But you guys are very dark right now. I'm not. I mean, I'm bummed. I'm not as bummed as those people that had thought they were going to get out of work early, I suppose. But like, look, this is the way high level games go. I mean, I think you have to be pretty. It's a gut punch. Okay, let's just start with that. It's a gut punch. Is the worst. You're bummed, but I think when you look at this in the grand scheme of things, and maybe what it will mean for the remainder of the MLS season and maybe the playoffs, like LAFC went toe to toe with one of the best teams in Mexico. They thwarted what they did well and flexed what LAFC did well. Like, yes, Monterrey had a bunch of possession. That wasn't fun to watch, but if you're going to tell me like, whoa, I wish LAFC had more of the ball, look at the chances that they created. Like, they really should have won the game. 2-0 up, could have been 3-0 up at a point. Then could have been 3-1, multiple chances to make it 3-1. So yeah, I'm bummed, emotionally bummed. And my gut wrench reaction is like this was a chance to get into the semifinals, which basically gives you an extra chance to book your place in CONCACAF Champions League Cup. But in the way you just look at the game from a microcosm and the fact that it's just one game, they did pretty well. I mean, in regards to creating chances. Now, you could say doing pretty well in my mind is dominating the game and passing the ball around. Well, then you're Monterrey. But Monterrey, for the longest point in that game, was the one terrified. So, again, this is soccer. Yeah. This is I know I'm maybe being too rational, but like I just look at that game and like if they make some chances.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, they make some chances. If Mario Gonzalez has maybe got a little bit more in his legs, to finish off.
Or just gets out of the way. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, clearly he's been listening to the show because he already hates Steve Abu. Just shows up.
He's gonna miss. Get me the ball.
Well, he's like, hey, bro, wait, you're going to score here? That's not the narrative. And so he stepped in, he took care of business. So, you got to give him that. But I just a lot to be upset about, mostly because like you just don't get to play another game. But if you're going to look at this and use this as a referendum on this team, then I will push back on that all day.
Here's what I'll say. And I think you're right. Everything you said is correct. I think this feels bad because we got to watch for 70 minutes a team that deserved to win and a
Yeah.
team that, in my head at that moment, if we won this game, we should win Leagues Cup. And I allowed myself, because we were playing so well, to walk down that path of what the next 2 weeks are going to look like, because it was that type of game for a while.
Yeah.
And so there's something very painful about what is, and I'm going to say it, a choke job from LAFC, where, I mean, you can't call it. We were up 2-0 and they scored 3 goals in what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That's as close to a
22
choke
minutes.
job as you could get. So like, it's, I'm not saying that we played poorly, but we clearly didn't. I don't know. It's a painful way to lose when we all know that we should not have lost that game. I think there's going to be some questions. I mean, what can we do? Fucking Palacios got sick. We put Palencia in there, and Palencia had a tough last 20 minutes of that game. I think we can all agree on that. I don't know.
Yeah, how fit is he? How fit is he? Right? Like he
Yeah.
just came back. I was with you until you got to choke job, and you just went way off the map.
What
and
else
then
do you call that?
But then you came back. Well, I'm just saying, like your first reaction, I was like, man, is this sensible Travis? I was like, man, he really is drinking water today. I was like, man, that's exactly how like an emotional, lover of this team should feel. Like, man, I'm bummed. I'm pissed. Like your bottom line was you're pissed. You wanted to be in the championship game. You were led to believe that you could dream for a moment, and they really gave you that 70, like you said, 70 minutes. They gave you that, and it was an intense game.
And we knew they'd have possession. Anyone complaining about possession didn't listen at all to what anyone was saying before these games. That's how they were going to play. I think what also is hard for me is that it's now difficult. It's difficult to not look at this in the totality of all the cups this season. And we came within 1 game of winning the Champions League. We lost we also were allowed to live stream that game. We punted on Open Cup, which, I don't know if people care about Open Cup that much. I certainly don't care about it that much, but we missed that opportunity. We're not going to win this.
The people that do just creep me out. No, I'm kidding. You Open Cup truthers, like I do love you, but some of you get a little much.
There is a lot of, there's people who talk about it as if it's the most important tournament. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Well, okay, let's not get into it. But like, we're not going to win the Supporter Shield. Mm-hmm. We now have no choice but to win MLS Cup if we want to win a trophy this year. It's the last one left. And we had an opportunity to win multiple trophies for a while this year, and it just sucks to watch it.
So you're punting on Supporter Shield, or you don't believe it's a trophy?
I don't think we can win it. I think Cincinnati's too far ahead.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're probably right.
How many games are left?
12.
Probably not enough to. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, yes, LAFC is an elite team, and especially after coming off a cup win, you just expect them to be able to do miraculous things. But like, let's even just take that Supporter Shield. The fact that Cincinnati ran out and won 10 of its first home games, like not even a draw in there, not even undefeated in a 10. Like sometimes you just got to say, like, wow, this is a weird year where sometimes what's good is not good enough, and somebody gets a little bit of luck, and you need that every season. And that now is going to roll into my other topic, which is to your point of, yes, they do feel like they're coming up just short. Like if they would have won a game, which especially for Champions League, if they're in the final, they win that, they win it all. Open Cup, you feel like if you beat the Galaxy, maybe you have a chance to just run the table. Here, you're right. You beat Monterrey. You beat probably the best team in the competition. You can go again. But like the fact that you're there says that you're pretty good. And we do still have the stretch run of the season to go. And we do still have the playoffs, which I'm assuming where LAFC was in second spot, which would give them, a good amount of home games. And that was with them trying to get through a lot of things, the Champions League and them being injured. I'm going to guess they're going to have home games. I really honestly took this game and like I wanted to win Leagues Cup, but I actually just really wanted to see how LAFC competed against, again, what I think is they could be the top team in the region, but they're top 3 for sure. And if you want to include LAFC in there, fine. But one way or another, they're one of the top teams, and it's probably Tigres or another Leon. But Leon's kind of deconstructed that team. But it's probably another Liga MX team. But to be near that very peak when MLS hasn't been there for the longest time is, I think it's pretty good because they really went toe to toe with them. Again, emotionally a bummer, but like you can't explain those emotions away. But what I can tell you is like anything that you're going to throw at soccer wise, like you can pretty much rationalize a lot of what happened. It just came down to they were better in moments, and LAFC weren't. After LAFC were better in the first moments, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very happy with how LAFC was playing for most of that game. I couldn't point to any like. Usually when we falter, you can see like, oh, this is a problem that's happening right here, and they take advantage of the problem, and then something like both teams played well, and we got beat.
Yeah,
and we got beaten in the most heartbreaking way you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, it didn't feel systemic, right? It wasn't like they were just repeatedly doing something, and LAFC was like, oh, like they win a penalty. Which, by the way, that guy is like a penalty plant. Like, first of all, he wears number 207. Like he
what's going on there?
He is the epitome of like the guy in the movie credits that is man number 1. Like you don't even know who this guy is, but somehow he is the man for Monterrey in the past 2 matches.
He drew that penalty in like 10 seconds, right? He had just come in.
Which supposedly he also did against Tigres in the prior game. Like the guy just draws penalties, and like give him a better number now. After he might get one just after this.
Yeah. What that was definitely a penalty, right? Like it was hard to see from our stream. I mean, I
did not like that call. It felt like a sideways thing. Like
I mean, when you slow it down that much, you can get to the root of what the problem was, which, you know, a lot of times we say like the attacker got there just a hair ahead. Yeah, when you slow it down that much, but you can't see in line. So then the only thing that draws into question is clear and obvious. How clear and obvious is that if you have to slow it down to the actual frame, right? So, but in the end, yeah, he kicks him before he kicks the ball. That's normally a foul anywhere else on the field.
Oof. I will say I want someone asked for some more positive notes, silver linings. So you know, we call them happy foots around here. Let's just say
totally different. There definitely is a podcast called the Silver Linings Podcast, right? Like that's just too easy.
Silver Linings Podcast.
Silver Lining
dating
Gold
podcast.
And if there isn't, we've just copyrighted it, and you guys are.
You'll find the person out there for you.
I think it is. There's a couple. The first is we're gonna get a little bit more rest. At this point,
I think there's plenty of happy foots, honestly.
We're going to get to a happy foot is Mario's going to get a little bit more integrated with the team. I thought he looked good in spaces. I do think he looked out of...
Except for that one particular space.
I think he looked a little bit...
The one space he decided to take up at the one time.
There's a certain space that was not so good. Sorry.
Mario will fit more with the team, and we'll hopefully have Vela back by the time that happens. And then we have a front three of Carlos Vela, Mario, and Denny Bwanga, which I like a lot more than... having Steve Buke start. Matty Bogusz continues to be unbelievable in the attacking midfield. Like a joy to watch. We looked good for fucking 65 minutes of that game. And then once the PK happened, it seemed like we lost our head a little bit. Darren, you said you had some happy foots?
Yeah, everyone did look good. Like the players that you look to play well played really well. Bwanga was on. He was all game. He was creating chances. He was following through. He did what he could. Bogusz was amazing. I liked watching how we played the whole game. This is the form that we want to be in. Like, yes, we lost, but the last 3 games, I think I didn't expect to be able to say that we cemented a return to form in a loss. But like, how do you look at the last 3 games and not feel good about the rest of the MLS season? I think we're in good shape. McCarthy put in a good game.
Yep.
We lost 3 goals in the last 22 minutes, but he still put in a great game. He had some great saves. They gave him a lot of trouble.
It's interesting.
We had a solid back line. I don't know what to complain about, honestly, other than just like the outcome.
Right. It really is interesting how many guys you can say had a good game, regardless of not having possession. Right. Like, I thought Aaron Long was just beasting guys, and Funes Mori is not an easy guy to deal with. We know Chiellini's good, right? So we don't even need to talk about him. Palencia coming back, and yes, he gives up the own goal, but like the way he played against Gallardo and really locked that side down, it made sense why they decided to flip them. They were like, Ryan, please go to the left. We know Gallardo is such a big problem, but like Gallardo was not, he's nowhere to be found. I think Ilya does what he does. He had a quietly good game. Kellen, I thought, was pretty good until he gives up the penalty. And then honestly, he was gassed. And they wanted, you saw the subs, right? Like Kellen was coming off. They wanted to get Tillman on.
Yep.
I bet you they would have tried to get Tillman on sooner if Tillman would have been fit prior to this game. Like Kellen was just gassed. And that kind of happens. But then, your front three are very good. But I'll tell you what, it's watching Bouanga be that confident about everything is awesome. Like
So
he
good.
was just, every time he gets the ball, he's like, I'm going to take you on. I'm going to get past you. I'm going to shoot everything. Like this was the Denny that we're used to seeing. Like he's a volume shooter. He's not like a sharp shooter finisher. But what he does is he puts teams under pressure. He terrifies them. So yeah, there is a lot to be positive about. And even just in this game, I thought if you look at it on the balance of things, like I don't know how much, because sometimes look, when we talk about tactics, this is what drives me wild about talking about tactics. We don't know. Like you and I, all three, like no one knows. Not even the smartest, analyst out there knows, because we're not in that room, right? And the coaches rarely say like this is what the tactic was. But if the tactic was in fact to sit back and let them pour numbers forward and play to our strengths, it worked very well. So you can say maybe they just figured out how to play into a game. Well, that's coaching too. But I think that if we're going to just lean on what tactics are and we're going to say the word all the time, I'm going to say it. Tactically, they were very good. And I think that Steve Cherundolo, that bodes well for the second half of the season. Because, like, again, going to the playoffs, I think they're going to have home games. And Steve Cherundolo is going to get the chance to have home games and probably going to score half times, either up a goal or at 0-0 like they did against RSL, and then make the little changes he needs to make to beast games. Like, that's what we did last year, right? And but I know people are bummed because, it's not going to be close to record setting. It's not going to be supporter shield, but you have to look at this game, and there's no for sure's in this league, but you have to look at this game and hope that if we can play against this team of this level, then what MLS team is going to really make us scared in any moment at any time? To be honest,
I was just gonna say there are no Monterreys in the MLS.
Yeah.
This is not a mountain we're gonna need to climb in the MLS.
Yeah, even you can say, look, if Cincinnati wins the Support Shield, they've been good and they did the things they had to do, especially at home. But they don't have a history of doing things the way Monterrey does. So there's no way. And so if Cincinnati wants to come in and play LAFC, and by the way, they wouldn't until the final. So reaching a final right there is a good thing. There's no chance. There's just no chance. Like you said, Darren, there's no Monterrey of MLS.
I think LAFC vet brings up a good point, Vince. You're not letting us feel bad. We want to feel like shit. And
but your point was the best. I just like you got to dream for a moment. It's like, look, when your hopes are crushed, that's when you're probably the most sad, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's the lesson, guys. Don't ever hope for anything. Don't be optimistic. No, I'm kidding.
There we go. Yes, more.
I will. Tiny Donuts brings up a good point. I think we really missed both of our players that
for those
we thought would
just
start.
listening. For those of you just listening, Tiny Donuts says we missed Vela in the second half, which is a very good point.
I think we missed Vela, and I think we missed Palacios quite a bit. And it's a bummer that we lost both of those guys in a game like this. I know that they also weren't at full health, but
they show up.
We had one DP on the field tonight, and they had 9, 10.
Yeah, right. It's a good point. Like, honestly, that is a really good point, and what they could bring off the bench. And yes, let's not, to give Monterrey credit, they were missing Roma, who I think is a fantastic player. That was not from injury though. Like, the dude got a stupid yellow card. So don't do that. But yeah, they were missing one of their guys, but man, the things that the players that they can bring on is just the starting 11. I know somebody was saying like Ordaz was a beast. Why didn't we? And I think people are probably thinking, why didn't Ordaz start? Did you really want to throw Nathan Ordaz against, like, did you see their back line?
Yeah.
They're giants. Like, even their fullbacks are giants. Like, I wouldn't do that to Ordaz. Like, guys got to keep in mind, this is a new tournament. Yes, as much as you want to win it. If you're Steve Cherundolo, you're like, am I going to just throw Nathan Ordaz to the Wolves and ruin his confidence for like the next whatever? And instead, he gets to come into the game, and I'm sure he's probably brimming with confidence because it was a space in the game. He had the ability to do some things. I will say maybe youthful exuberance, giving that ball away that led to the goal, but there wasn't really much else he could do there, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Not playing aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
What ways can you get into the Champions Cup now?
There's still a lot. There's still
a lot, because I know it used to just be what you win one of the East or West, or you were in the finals. Is that right?
Well, it was like in the finals, it was the Supporter Shield winner. Then it was the other next highest points winner, which is usually the other conference. Then the winner of MLS Cup and Open Cup. Now, if somebody in the turn, a lot of times people that were in the finals were in Open Cup, or the Supporter Shield winner was in Open Cup. So then it went to an even lower level in the points. And so now a lot of those are still in play. Like the two, you get to MLS Cup, the opposite conference winner will get in. Like there's still ways to do it. You don't just have to win MLS Cup. Let's just put it that way.
Well, let's win MLS Cup.
Yeah, let's do that anyways. Because to your guys, and Travis's point, like trophies are out the window for the most part. Like I agree with you. I don't think Supporter Shield is really realistic. They should play their best as well as they can. But would you kill this team to win a Supporter Shield or to get a chance to win the Supporter Shield? Not at this point. No. But you go all out for MLS Cup, of course.
I think maybe that's where a lot of my pain is coming from, is that it feels like a roster in this league, at least the one that we've assembled, is fleeting. Like it feels like we have a very limited amount of time with the team that we've assembled that I think at this point we feel very good about.
Yeah.
And I don't really know like what the expiration date is on this roster, but it doesn't feel like we have a ton of time to accomplish everything that we can accomplish with them.
Yeah. I mean, that's all 29 teams in MLS.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like it's a feature, not a bug. Like, and
for sure.
And so turnover.
Everyone's going crazy about. Obviously, everyone's going crazy about Messi coming here. It's like he's not here for that long.
Yeah, turnover is inevitable, and even John Thornton said on the Inside LAFC podcast this week, he was like, "Look, I didn't. If you would have told me in January I was going to be making this many moves, I would have been like, no, I don't need to. But he had to. But then he had to. And so the game moves fast, but especially again in this league, because I think the margins are so thin, you got to get so many things right, and you can't get as much depth. So yeah, Darren, and to your point is it's a bummer. I think it is. And maybe we never talk about it, right? We always talk about like we want to change the salary cap because I want Messi's and I want players like that, but it does rob us of a lot of times teams getting to just stick together, which is
they want to play the long game.
Well, but it's also what fans like culturally and community wise, like you want to feel invested in your team. But if you're changing players all the time, and look, for a lot of people and a lot of segments of the world, changing players all the time, like transfer windows are huge, right? You always want to know who the new guy is, but we also want to keep like a core together and a continuity together. So it does make this league very much different than almost any other.
Vince, there's a couple of folks in the comments that are upset with Dolo's game plan, with his substitutions. You were saying that you think tactically the game was strong because we knew that they wanted possession. We've had some people saying, a team that wants the ball, we gave them the ball. Why do you think that it was? Do you think it's wrong to point any blame at Dolo for this loss tonight?
The team that wants the ball, they got the ball, yet through up until, I would say even at 2-2, LAFC still had the bulk of the chances. So what do you value? Do you value the ball? I mean, some people do. And for the longest time, that was a thing, I think. But we've started to get away from possession means something. Possession only means something if you do something with it. And Rayados didn't do much with it for a longest period of time. Whereas LAFC, with not having the ball and having to understand the moments that they need to get forward, they created the biggest chances. At 2-0, they could have made it 3-0. They didn't. 2-1, they could have made 3-1. They didn't multiple times. But that's the sport. That's football. Like there's variance. You miss chances. So at the end of the day, Steve sets him up and goes, "I'm going to put you in the best places to create big chances. You got it. At the end of it, you got to finish them," and he did. So that's my opinion. You can differ with me on it, but I would like to hear what your backing of it is, because my backing is They still created the best chances and had the best chances to score goals. I
Yeah,
guess. I mean,
I have trouble. I have trouble pointing blame. I mean, I admittedly don't know that much about tactics. I have trouble putting blame on Dolo for losses when I think he is the fastest coach to win the number of wins that he has in MLS. And he won the Supporter Shield and MLS Cup in his first season with the team. Our roster now is arguably better than it was last year, outside of obviously Gareth Bale. So I'm not saying like people mad at Dolo when we're second in the West, and like this is still a good season by any metric for any other team. That said,
Yeah,
I'm
our
still
bar is
upset.
really high.
yeah.
Our bar is just really high. I think it's hard to, of all the problems with this team, I couldn't bring myself to say it's the guy who's gotten the most wins the fastest in the history of the league.
Here's the thing. I love tactics more than anyone, right? Like probably even more than anyone in the chat. But it's not a math equation. It's not like X plus Y equals this. Like so many people want to break a game down as like if a team lost a game, they got the equation wrong. No, there's so many variables and so much going on that like it's not always tactics. And even to that point, like when I told you guys like we can't say tactics for sure because we're not in that room. Like as much as they gave them the ball, there was moments where they tried to press, and they did in fact press. There was definitely Sergi Palencia flying forward to fly out and press up on their winger, or Ryan Hollingshead. That doesn't tell me it's a team that completely says, okay, we don't want the ball at all. We will never get the ball. Let's just let them do whatever they want. No,
We're in transition.
They tried to flex themselves, but what they understood was, okay, if we can get out and we can disrupt them and we can win the ball, that's great. But if we don't, then the best thing to do here is to fall back, be in a block, not get overloaded in times, and then hit them on the break. That's what tactics are. They're only ever tactics. I like to say is it's cracking the door. It's never tactics don't win games. I'm sorry, guys. They just don't. As much as like people are like master class, like players still win games, moments still win games, execution wins games. The things that you put into it before that, tactics are just that little like it's a topping, it's a condiment. You just put on top, and maybe you can make it better, or it can make something shit. So like if you put something,
you don't feel bad at all. You think this was a good game?
I do. I do feel bad because they're not getting to play again, right? And I want to win a trophy. But what I'm trying to say is like it's a 190-minute thing. So I don't think you can always make wide ranging conclusions from it.
We're talking about Dolo.
Yeah, especially from when it's something that like honestly changes game to game. Like if you were to tell me like, oh, LAFC has consistently given up 70% possession, thinking that was the way they're going to win game, then I go, yeah, well, this is clearly it's not working anymore.
And you watched the two games before where we were absolutely dominant in possession, and like it's clear that we just played one of the best teams on the continent, if not the best team on the continent, and came very close to beating them. I think what's hard is a lot of us think that there's a world in which we're one of the best teams on the continent.
That world, just because you lose the best team, it still puts you in the stratosphere. Like I know that there's only one team at the top of the mountain, but we're still one of the best teams. It's just they were better on the day. Look, it was a 3-2 game. If they would have thrashed us 3-0, then I think that's where I'd be more upset. But I think in a lot of ways people can accept that more because they're like, the game was over. We never had a chance. They killed us. Move on.
It's one of those things where like
we got stunned.
The score doesn't express the emotion because of the flow of the game. The narrative of the game was we were up 2-0 for 70 minutes. And so then to suddenly be slapped in the face feels much worse than if it was 3-0 and we got 2 back. We'd be feeling like,
right.
Or do you remember the game we did the live stream for Leon? Getting that goal back at the very end of the game, even though we lost, made the whole thing feel different.
Yeah, imagine they're down 2-0. They score 2 goals, and then Monterrey just scores at the end. Like, but that's the thing. Okay. That's the sport. There's so many ways that like the emotions become different because of the way things stack together. It's because it's low scoring. Like there's variance. Things are just going to get crazy, and you're going to have to deal with it. But I'm not saying I'm not saying you shouldn't be sad. I'm just saying like just be careful at what conclusions you make football wise.
I think hindsight is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
I think You want to jump to like, oh, Delos, like it just
well, it's
a lot of things
I
that you
blame
can say
Stipe
that are
View.
bad. Yeah, a lot of things that you can say
I
that
knew
are
it.
like
I
the
knew it
reason
was
why this
coming.
went wrong are because you know what happened at the end,
Mhm.
and you're blaming things that were like, here's the game plan, and it's like, well, the game plan doesn't take into account what happens in the end, so
Well, and
it's just the math doesn't work out.
consider how much it happens the other way around. Where like in hindsight, you're like, they won the championship, clearly the best team. They never needed any luck. They had it in the bag the whole time. But
Right.
then if you could go back and watch every game, you're like, oh man, there was a lot of times where this team just like grinded it out or did this or did that. So I think uh, there's rarely a season where like a team just not rarely. I can't even think of anyone in history. And I honestly like I watch a lot of world football and enjoy a lot of the history of world football. There's not really a season, at least in recent memory, even this Man City team that won everything, like there were hairy moments. They were maybe not going to catch Arsenal. They eventually did. They had moments in the Champions League where it was touch and go. Isn't that what I would say this as a whole? Isn't that what we want as a whole? Not as LAFC fans today. No, we do not want that. We would love to crush every team. But as a whole, it's kind of good that football is played this way in the chance where sometimes the best team doesn't win. But I would say, again, I just want to go back to this. These were two of the best teams in the region that went head to head, and the margins were razor thin. And you should be proud of that. But yeah, be disappointed. We lost out another chance to win a trophy. When I agree with you, Travis, like you win this game, I don't care I don't care if it's Messi in the final. We're dusting whoever comes next, like easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with Tim. I want some.
I think Tim Morgan
too.
states it really what we're all dancing around in the entire live stream so far is what Tim Morgan has to say, which I saved earlier to bring up at the right moment when he says, I need Berea right now.
Then if this was earlier, Tim, I hope you found somewhere to get it. I mean, there's here in Long Beach, there's like
did they put the Berea
taco
stand?
pop-ups everywhere. So did
the Berea stand come to the Rose Bowl? Do we at least get that?
Those bacon wrapped hot dogs were there.
No.
Also, shout out
advantage.
to anyone still stuck in the Rose Bowl traffic, leaving the match right now.
Yeah, is there anybody listening to this in the car?
I'm sure.
If you're stuck on the grass, don't hit the accelerator more. You need to slowly ease into it to get those
just driving all over a goddamn golf course.
It is just like it was fun to drive on that golf course. That was the best part of the experience for me.
I want to state for the record formally that as far as LAFC is concerned, the Rose Bowl is officially cursed.
Yes. Okay. We are. I can't believe we gotten this far in before we said it. Fuck the Rose Bowl. Fuck the Rose Bowl. Fuck the Rose Bowl. I know we didn't have a choice for this game.
BMO absolutely would have been a factor.
We did not have a home field.
Vince just said the margins were razor thin. If we had played this game at BMO, that would have done something. That would have been a factor. The game would have been a different.
The smoke wouldn't have gotten taken away.
A quarter-filled Rose Bowl game is not a home game.
And it's also just like, I know plenty of people that chose not to go. I was happy to do the fucking live stream because I didn't want to deal with the Rose Bowl shit. The Rose Bowl sucks logistically. We talked about it so much last time. It is a nightmare of a building, and it also belongs to a different team. And I live so close to the Rose Bowl. I live maybe a 10-minute drive from the Rose Bowl.
Me too.
I would love
the other direction
to only have to drive 10 minutes to get to the Rose Bowl. Fuck the Rose Bowl. I'd rather go to SoFi at this point. The vibes are off. The vibes are off.
The vibes could not be worse at the Rose Bowl. They really could not be worse.
I mean, it is true. It is interesting that all of a sudden they're like, now this is an LAFC home game. And you're like, wait a second.
Look, just a few months ago, we were at a Galaxy home game there. So what the fuck?
We have recent evidence that this has never been an LAFC home game.
Yeah, but it's not an LAFC home game. No.
22,000 in BMO is incredible. 30,000 in the Rose Bowl looks like shit. And it sounds bad. It's not a good place for soccer.
The funny thing is, like, what the whole mystique of the Rose Bowl, and yes, there's been big games there. Obviously, there's the Rose Bowl there every year. But like, it really is just like, it's just like, oh yeah, like it's really sunny all the time, and it's in a slightly like gross area of the world. Like there's beautiful and green around it.
Yeah,
where there's a golf course. But like, yeah, but like otherwise, what would you say is going for it? Doesn't have like superior amenities, has horrible parking. The field, the pitch is not great. As you can tell,
No.
like how that thing had like pock marks. It had like just scratches down the side of it. I don't know. I said this, and I'll probably regret saying this. I think I said, the Rose Bowl is going to get to do some World Cup games, and then we can blow that fucker up, right? Because like we're done with that. And somebody was like, "What? The Rose Bowl is like an institution. How dare you?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. I thought we were all on the same page, and I thought we could do this." So I guess I was wrong.
Who plays there? UCLA? I think like UCLA folks really like it.
I thought it was USC. It's UCLA.
No, USC plays.
USC plays the
Coliseum,
of course.
Which we haven't tried, and it's next to BMO.
Yeah, why aren't we playing at the Coliseum?
I think they have hard summer there too.
No way.
No,
How hard is hard summer? Let's talk about this. What the fuck is this festival?
It's not hard summer. It's
everywhere.
Not even. No, it's someone else that's playing the stadium. It's not hard summer, but I would say one, it would be a nightmare to have that many concert goers and then try to do parking and do all that. Yeah. So that's one reason. And two, like clearly MLS has some kind of relationship with the Rose Bowl. It's not like you're MLS and you go like, hey, we need a game. So obviously Coliseum, you're just going to open up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to do this. That's not the way business works. I'm sorry to tell you.
Well, because I remember there was rumors that they were trying to get the Rose Bowl, and it's clear that they foresaw this, like that this was a potential thing. And I bet it's easier to deal with the Pasadena Commission than it is to deal with LA City Council.
And to get wide swaths of parking, you don't have to deal with any competing venues and other things. Like there's a lot of things going for it. Like, yes, in our brains and are just like, oh yeah, it's a stadium. It makes sense. It's right there. It makes sense. But like, yeah, it's what I tell people. People always tell me like, I don't understand why they can't do it. I go, have you ever thrown a party at your house? And they go, yeah, of course. I go, okay, next week you're gonna throw a party with 10,000 people. Wait, why would I do that? That's basically what you're asking. Like you're asking these people to just like, they're like, well, if 10,000 people, there's going to need to be security and safety and all these things. I go, what do you think throwing an event is? Anytime, anywhere you go, like there's all these other things. So it's not, I just wanted to say to people, it's not as simple as just being like that one.
Yeah.
That stadium. Yeah, that's the one we want.
The vibes are off at the Rose Bowl. I will say I was running last year. I was doing a lot of running. I would run at the Rose Bowl 4 times a week. It's beautiful there. It is beautiful down there.
Jeez.
Wasn't fast.
We get it. You run. Cool. Awesome. Wow. Wow. So healthy.
I don't ever want to step foot in that fucking building so long as I live. I hate it there. It is a bad venue. It is full of sun. I get that it's historical. I even love Pasadena. Fuck the Rose Bowl. The parade is the best part of the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Parade?
Yeah, they make all the floats out of flowers. That's beautiful.
Wow. That was so pure.
All right.
Can we end on that? That was just like his response was so pure.
Relevant to this, Tim Morgan's devolving pure form for Tim Morgan.
Tim Morgan's really like on one in the comments.
Just absolutely loving it. Happy foot Travis's blue eyes against that lovely blue enviro-friendly kit. Oh.
I can't wait.
You know what? Tim Morgan has been devolving. There's 2 sides to everything. He also commented, excuse me, I'm putting that up. Yes, let's ask the question. Is Travis the Dark Angel? 2 nights he stays home. We win.
There's flaws to that logic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is there?
Because I stayed home tonight.
Defend yourself, Travis.
I stayed home tonight. Maybe Darren is the good luck. And
maybe
it has nothing to do with
games. Yeah.
Once we figure out how to record in the same room, Darren, we can start doing.
Oh my God, can you believe it? What if
we
could
Darren,
actually
no
record
party.
a thing?
No Darren, no party.
That's what I always say.
Travis is 75 years old. I don't know what that comment means, Uproar, and I really hate it.
I love that
because
of
you
the
run
3 of us
at the Rose Bowl.
No, I think it's probably because he was like, I don't want to go there or something like that. But of the 3 of us, like the fact that you would be the only one that would hate being called 75 years old, but yet we all agree like we wouldn't want to go there.
Is that because I was like a crotchety old man? Yeah,
a little bit. I think. Yeah. I think you took it out.
But also, I do think running at the Rose Bowl feels like an old person thing to do.
Yeah, like
did you see other old people running?
Do you have like white athletic socks that you pull over like baggy sweatpants?
That's exactly the question I would have asked. Thank you.
And they're just
I have a question.
Just gray.
I have a question for you guys as humans. I
Oh,
was when
okay.
I was running at
Bring
the
it.
Rose Bowl.
You assume a lot.
I had the impulse to high five strangers who were running in the other direction, and I never did it. Maybe it's a question to ask a woman, because I bet it's a different thing if it was like a woman. But like, if I put my hand up for a high five, what would you do? Would you do it, or would you be like, that guy's
absolutely.
weird?
Are you kidding me? That's awesome.
I should ask a woman, because I bet a female would have a different.
They'd be like, "Ooh, fuck off."
Yeah.
Punch you in the face, which you probably deserve.
Yeah.
You're that guy.
I don't know. High five seems innocent.
Well,
but it's an invite to come and talk, is what they would.
Well, and this also depends. Like, you do it once, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that was cool. That guy did that." And they're like, "Every time I see that guy who wants to high five me, and I'm I'm over it."
It's cool that you think I could do more than one loop at the Rose Bowl. That's a 5K. It was insane. I did it like 3 times. It is a very diverse group of runners.
I'm over there all the time, just going to kids' base. Not getting a lot of exercise.
I want to end on this comment from Rancho, which is that he learned to ride his bike at the Rose Bowl. And I think that's the last time a pure thing happened at the Rose Bowl. Any happy foots or sad foots we want to get? Anything that was cool? Any plays that we saw that we liked that we want to get to at the end? I mean, the Bogus shot was beautiful.
Bogus had a really gem of a game.
Any other people have great games that we didn't get to because we were sad?
You know, I don't think he had a great game, because obviously he had a really poor corner at the end. But like, what I liked seeing from Krasta was like he had a little bite to him. Like, he's not afraid to mix it up a little bit. There was like one foul where like he clearly fouled the guy, and he looked at the referee like, "What? I got the ball." It's like, I like that. I like that. I enjoy that, because I feel like
he was looking good for me. Yeah.
Well, I feel like some of the reasons why maybe people get down on Stipe is like he doesn't seem like he seems upset in like the gee golly, like Ned Flanders way. Like, I missed that shot, and he doesn't get like pissed. And I think that you can't relate with that the way. Edge. Yeah, the way you can with Krastov when he gets upset. So I really like that about him. Yeah, there was like I think there was plays that like I had in my notes that I'm like, this could be big, and then like it didn't turn out. So I don't think I have anything else to.
I think I liked seeing that we knew how important the counterattack was, and we did get it going. I feel like I've seen in other games, I've seen us have the opportunity to make something out of a counterattack and just like not really have much urgency with it.
Yeah. They did it well.
Like, I mean, everyone was on the same page in this game. They were like, "We got it. This is the thing we're trying to do."
Yeah, what a difference some trainings make. Like the ability to actually like talk to each other and link up. But like that's the thing. Like, it's their biggest weapon is transition, but it's dangerous, right? Like, if it doesn't go right, it makes you look really bad. But that's I'll rewatch that game and see how many times they made something big out of transition, and a lot of that was Matty Bogusz. He was fantastic in transition.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to see how beautiful the world is from the bottom of a well. But you got to remember what it was like before you fell in that well.
Think of all those teams that aren't in the quarterfinals of the League's Cup. They're all sad at home. Oh no, wait, I've been seeing these MLS.
There's hundreds of
We're
them.
so happy to be home.
We'll get some more rest. We'll get Carlos Vela back. We're going to have a stronger team. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Vince, thanks for joining us. As always, if you enjoyed the show, you're still watching at this point, please consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/happyfootsadfoot. It's only $5 a month. It helps us keep making it. And it really goes a long way to making this feel like a community. And everyone who's on the Patreon knows that it's fun to hang out over there. We talk to people like all day long. A lot of
fun over there.
Cool. Is that it? Anything else? Our next game is against Colorado, Darren.
Yeah.
Proper response.
20th. Yeah.
Proper response.
We'll take it. This is a good game back.
Only 9 days off, but we'll take it.
9 days is perfect.
9 days is fine. Let's do it.
In soccer terms, like, you just want a regular cycle, and that's like pretty perfect.
Yeah. Well, we love you. Bye.
Sorry for we didn't do many Collins. We didn't do any Collins, but we just had to grieve, guys.
Yeah.
We need just the family tonight. But thank you for hanging out in the comments. There was a ton of comments, and it was a lot of fun. And we love you.
And if you came over to the LAFC live stream, thank you so much. It was fun hanging out.
Yeah, it was great seeing a lot of you guys there. It was awesome.
Vince, where were you? Thanks everyone for watching.
If you
All
check
right, let's party
my
again soon.
Instagram story, I was getting tattooed.
Oh, cool.
cool.
Show it. Or is it wrapped up?
It's kind of wrapped up. Let me see if I can get.
Oh, it's got that second skin. Is it the cowboy boot?
Is it the boot?
Yeah, it's a cowboy boot.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
Do
rad.
I have a cowboy? Do I have any cowboy stuff? No.
This is the second time tonight. First, you and Jason are trading fucking trophies, and now I have nothing. And now you and Vince have fucking.
Darren, show us your tattoo.
I don't have any fucking tattoos.
Well, guess what?
Okay.
I happen to know a lady that can do some tattoos. She's about 15 feet away from me.
Really?
If you want to follow her, she's just been starting doing it. Can I just do this for a second? She can't.
Yeah.
I don't think she can hear me. My partner Cody has just started doing tattoos, and the tattoo that she did on me is probably like her 15th tattoo. It's pretty incredible. So
that's a really great tattoo.
That's
Show it again.
Let's show that tattoo again.
You guys should follow her
You're here.
That's great.
on
This is
Instagram.
awesome. What's her Instagram?
It's at Cries Rainbows, which is a fantastic
That's
Instagram
an
name.
amazing Instagram too.
And maybe because she's always posting that she has openings for like her apprenticeship, and one day she'll be all big grown up, big tattooer. You can have like a nice cowboy boot tattoo as well. So maybe you should hit her up if you're in the area in Long Beach at Retro Row Inc. on 4th Street in Long Beach.
Whoa.
You had me until Long Beach, Vince.
As always, as usual.
I will pick you up.
Well, thank you.
Not Short
I
Beach.
genuinely will get a
Not
tattoo
Short
from her.
Beach.
We'll lose money. I'll lose money on the gas, but it'll be worth it. The content will be worth
Travis
it.
and I
We'll
have the
film
same
the whole
idea.
thing.
Travis and I both posted her handle
Well,
in the comments.
for
It's there
Darren, it'll be
twice.
his first tattoo, which
It would be my first
incredible.
tattoo. Let's do it.
It hurts,
Yep.
Darren. They don't tell you.
Hard
they
sell.
They don't tell you that. Yeah, because
Twisting my arm.
they're all hard grizzled veterans of tattoos. They're like, it hurts. They don't know.
I just got to say, I think the tournament was rigged against us. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now that
Don't
I've
do
given
it.
it some thought, the
Don't you
tournament
do
was
it.
rigged.
Don't you do it?
I mean, why else would they use a phone for VAR? That's my happy foot. Using a physical telephone for
Very
VAR.
good, happy foot. Yeah, the '90s phone, the cord, like they had to untangle the cord.
Why are we still doing this? It's 11 p.m. on a Friday.
Everyone
Goodbye,
go to
everyone.
sleep.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
I
edit
love
this.
you.
Bye. I love you. Bye.